It's the fight for Kobani. American warplanes are pounding ISIS targets in a crucial Syrian border town today, but reports on the ground said the terrorists continue to take territory. Turkey's foreign minister says it is unrealistic to expect his country to launch a ground war on its own. Let's get a live update tonight from senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palkot, who is near the Syria-Turkey border.
Hi, Greg. On that border, watching a big, deadly fight in Kobani, which is having an even bigger impact on the broader war against ISIS terrorists. You're looking at what appears to be a massive ISIS car bomb blowing up in the Syrian town of Kobani. The terrorists said to be targeting a compound of the Kurdish militia defending the city. A huge cloud of smoke reaching high up in the sky. In its latest release, CENTCOM claims the Kurds control most of the city. The view from the ground looks very different. There was some skirmishing in the east of the city, but that area was mostly quiet today. That's because that's where ISIS black flags of terror already fly. The group is said to control much of that ground. We're seeing a lot of smoke and a lot of action to the west of the center, and that is where perhaps we're seeing ISIS and Kurdish defenders clashing. There was street-to-street, block-to-block, close-quarter combat there, including small arms fire, machine guns, more bomb blasts. And where was the U.S.? CENTCOM confirming there were 5 more coalition airstrikes targeting ISIS units, a training ground, and a support center, but outside the city. While those strikes might help disrupt supply lines to the terrorists, they did little to slow down the battle. And neither did the Turkish military. For another day, its tanks and armor stood poised at the border, doing nothing except holding back the locals. We are Kurdish, this man says. We are here to the death. Turkey should give us permission to cross. They are angry. Ethnic Kurd protesters clashed for a third night with Turkish police. The nationwide death toll from violent riots is now 26. Turkey's role in the terror fight is also the subject of meetings set with the head of the U.S.-led anti-ISIS campaign, General John Allen, and Turkish officials in Ankara, as the fight goes on. Just a few minutes ago, we got new word from CENTCOM of 9 more airstrikes to the north and the south of Kobani, some of them sounding considerably closer to the action that we were witnessing. Perhaps Kobani is gaining in strategic importance. Brett.
Greg Palkot, early Friday morning, live on the border with Syria. Greg, thank you. Let's get more on the U.S. strategy and what needs to be done differently, perhaps, from someone who knows the area intimately. Retired Lieutenant General Michael Barbero is a career infantry officer who served more than 46 months in Iraq over 3 separate tours of duty. He's now self-employed, consulting for various companies, doing business in the region. He's just returned from the front lines with an assessment of the problems there. Welcome, General.
Thanks, Brad. Great to be here.
First of all, give us an assessment of kind of the front lines there.
Yeah, well, the Kurds have a 1,000-kilometer border with ISIS. And at any one time, they're fighting in 6 to 8 different areas, from the east to the Iranian border to where we're seeing today, Kobani. And they're holding, and they push back a little, but to sum it up, they're outgunned and overmatched by ISIS.
The Kurds, and we've had a number of officials on this program, say they are not getting the equipment, the heavy equipment from the U.S., and frankly, they're frustrated.
For weeks, they've been requesting written lists of equipment, heavy weapons. They're up against suicide bombers, artillery, tanks, and they have a few mortars from us and a lot of AK-47s and bullets, but not what they feel they need, the heavy weapons that really take the fight to ISIS.
I mean, I read a stat that only 5% of the Peshmerga soldiers have helmets.
Right, and that's I've seen that same report, and I think it's accurate from what I've seen. They are going around Europe to different capitals begging for help.
What do you think the problem is with the U.S.?
Well, I think it's largely a policy problem. We have this one Iraq policy where everything goes through Baghdad, and we're very sensitive to Baghdad's feelings about arming and empowering the Kurds. And frankly, I think we're held hostage also by Turkey. Turkey has a different agenda, different interests, and their fear of an empowered Kurdish population, I think, is playing into this also.
And when you go through Baghdad, obviously there are internal political considerations that Baghdad has, because they don't want to empower the Kurds too much, because the Kurds want sovereignty to break away from Baghdad.
They want greater autonomy. There is friction in certain areas to include Kirkuk. that Baghdad has been concerned about, that we kept, we put ourselves in the midst of that to reduce these frictions, but sure, Baghdad is concerned about it.
But as far as fighters go, I mean, the Peshmerga, the Kurds are committed to this fight against ISIS. Obviously, they're taking heavy losses. Right. What is the disparity between what they're facing?
Well, they said in some of the attacks, they start off with suicide bombers, they're followed by artillery, and then followed up by tanks. And they have very few to no anti-armor systems to defeat these tanks. And they have no real indirect fire weapons to counteract this artillery. So they'll fight. They have fought, they are fighting, they will fight. They just need the means to do this. And the president said, we are going to help and equip those who will fight on the ground against ISIS. And here we are.
I mean, all the flights going in go through Baghdad?
All the military aid that we have sent goes through Baghdad. Baghdad has insisted upon it. It lands there to be inspected and is delayed, and the Kurds ask, why are you letting your foreign policy be hijacked by Baghdad?
And I mean, let's be honest, in the big picture here, Iran has a huge influence.
Iran has a huge influence in Baghdad, and they're present, they're active, and yeah, they do.
What's your assessment of the airstrikes and how effective or ineffective they've been?
Well, I mean, you can't airstrike your way out of this, and we're seeing diminishing returns on the airstrikes. The Kurds and others are frustrated with the numbers and the effectiveness because ISIS is smart. They've adapted. They move at night, they've dispersed, they go in the villages, and, you know, we've picked up the airstrikes today, but 5 airstrikes a day around Kobani is not going to make a difference.
I mean, perspective-wise, that is really minimal.
That is minimal. Yeah, that is. That's not. These are airstrikes. This is not an air campaign.
So what changes the dynamic?
Changes the dynamics to be decisive. You will need a ground force to dislodge ISIS, and the options are no good options here. But at the end of the day, it's got to be the Kurds they're empowered and armed and equipped to be able to do this, but also finally Iraqi security forces, and that's going to be hard. It's going to require advising, assisting by us.
There's all this talk about training the Kurdish forces. Mm-hmm. Has that materialized?
No, it hasn't. There are some
partnered with First Lady